Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that noti bell because it really helps out. Few films manage to capture the balance of humor, heart, and emotional depth quite like Disney's Lilo and Stitch. Released in 2002, this animated gem continues to this day to resonate with audiences of all ages thanks to its unique art style, unforgettable characters, and deeply human story about love, loneliness, and found family. What sets Lilo and Stitch apart is its grounded emotional core, tucked beneath layers of sci-fi chaos, Elvis Presley tunes, and tropical charm. Unlike many other Disney offerings at the time, this story centers around a small, broken family in Hawaii trying to stay together, and the emotional stakes feel refreshingly real, even as a mischievous blue alien creature crashes into their lives. Lilo and Stitch is endlessly rewatchable because of its ability to blend slapstick comedy and heartfelt family drama with such effortless precision. The character dynamics are what truly breathe life into this film, especially the bond between Lilo, a quirky and misunderstood young girl, and Stitch, an alien weapon experiment learning the meaning of empathy. Their relationship evolves in deeply touching ways, and it's told through moments that are both funny and profoundly human. Add to that the chaotic presence of social workers, aliens, and the backdrop of Hawaiian culture, and you get a movie that's as entertaining in its 10th view as it was in its very first. Every scene offers either a burst of laughter or a tug at the heartstrings, and often both at once. At its core, Lilo and Stitch is a love letter to the messy, imperfect, and resilient nature of families. It doesn't sugarcoat hardship. Lilo and her sister Nani are struggling in the wake of their parents' death, but it celebrates the hope and healing that comes from sticking together, no matter how unconventional that Ohana may look. Its timeless message that Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten, has etched itself into popular culture and the hearts of viewers all over the world. Whether you're revisiting it for the colourful visuals, the zany Disney humour, or its emotional authenticity, Lilo and Stitch stands tall as one of Disney's most unforgettable and joyfully rewatchable classics. Stitch begins Lilo and Stitch as a force of pure mayhem, a literal genetically engineered experiment designed for destruction, who escapes his creators and crash lands into an unsuspecting world. At first glance, he's a bowl of teeth, claws, and unfiltered energy, wreaking havoc wherever he goes. But as the film progresses, it becomes clear that Stitch isn't just a chaos gremlin for comic relief, he is a character built around the aching desire for purpose, identity, and belonging. His transformation from a creature of destruction to a loved and loving member of a family is one of Disney's most touching and profound arcs, embodying the film's deeper message about redemption, empathy, and the power of being accepted. When Stitch first enters Lilo and Nani's lives, he is not much more than a wild animal masquerading as a dog. He doesn't speak, he doesn't care, and he doesn't understand the emotional world around him. But even in those early moments, there's a subtle sadness to him, a sense that beneath his monstrous behavior is a character lost in a world he doesn't understand. As Lilo begins to treat him not as a menace, but as someone worth loving, Stitch is forced to confront feelings he has never experienced before. He doesn't understand why he's being read bedtime stories, or why someone would hug him without expecting anything in return. Slowly, the emotional walls begin to crack, and we watch one of Disney's most unusual protagonists begin to evolve in real time. Perhaps the most heartbreaking and beautiful moment of Stitch's transformation comes when he wanders into the forest with the storybook, The Ugly Duckling, where sitting along under the trees, he softly repeats, "I'm lost," in one of the most gut-wrenching scenes in the film. It's the turning point where chaos gives way to vulnerability, and where viewers realize that Stitch isn't just a product of science, but a soul longing for love. By the time he chooses to stay with Lilo and Nani, choosing family over freedom, connection over instinct, Stitch becomes not just a hero, but a mirror for anyone who's ever felt like an outsider. His journey teaches us that no one is too broken or too strange to be loved. It reminds us that identity is defined not by origin or purpose, but by the choices we make and the people we choose to care about. In Stitch's journey from chaos to compassion, Lilo and Stitch delivers one of the most emotionally resonant arcs, not just in Disney history, but in animation history as well. One of the most striking and enduring aspects of Lilo & Stitch is its beautifully realized setting, the Hawaiian island of Kauai. From the very first frame, the film distinguishes itself by diving into a world rarely explored in mainstream animated cinema. While many Disney films lean into fantastical kingdoms or fictional lands, Lilo & Stitch is rooted in a real place, one brimming with natural beauty, cultural depth, and a sense of lived-in warmth that makes every frame feel like a postcard come to life. Hawaii isn't just a backdrop in this story, it is an active character, alive with color, sound and spirit. It grounds the sci-fi chaos into something deeply human and tangible. The film's artistic direction leans heavily into watercolor backgrounds, a deliberate choice that gives the world a soft, storybook quality while still showcasing the lush, vibrant nature of the Hawaiian landscape. Towering palm trees sway lazily in the breeze, waves crash against volcanic rock, and warm tones of sunlight bounce off the shoreline. The tropical palette feels lovingly painted rather than digitally constructed, capturing the dreamy mood of island life in a way that feels simultaneously whimsical and authentic. It's not overly idealized either. Yes, there are beautiful beaches, but the town itself feels lived in and ordinary, with local shops, modest homes, and tight-knit communities. This balance gives the setting both charm and relatability, making it feel like a real place viewers could often visit or even call home. But the richness of Hawaii in Lilo & Stitch isn't just about the visuals, it's also about the culture. We see it in the way Lilo dances hula with grace and pride, in the use of native Hawaiian phrases, in the slack-key guitar strums and traditional chants woven subtly into the soundtrack. There is an authenticity and respect for Hawaiian heritage that elevates the film beyond surface-level representation. Even the spiritual themes of family, community, and connection to nature echo native Hawaiian values, anchoring the film's emotional core in the setting itself. Hawaii is not just a place where the story takes center stage, it's why the story works as well as it does. It offers a uniquely warm, vibrant, and emotionally resonant atmosphere that wraps itself around the viewer like a soft tropical breeze, making every rewatch feel like a return to literal paradise. At the heart of Lilo & Stitch lies one of Disney's most poignant and enduring messages, the importance of family. But unlike many family-focused stories that rely solely on traditional, nuclear representations, this film dares to explore a more inclusive, more emotionally complex understanding of what family truly means. It doesn't present family as something flawless or idyllic, instead it shows it as messy, painful, annoying, and sometimes fractured, but always worth fighting for. Whether through blood or bond, family in Lilo & Stitch is presented as the people who stand by you even when life becomes unbearably difficult. And in doing so, Lilo & Stitch speaks to the hearts of viewers across generations, backgrounds, and lived experiences. Lilo and her older sister Nani are the film's emotional anchor, navigating a world where their parents are gone and their small household teeters on the brink of collapse. Nani, barely out of adolescence herself, is suddenly thrust into the role of caretaker, struggling to provide stability for a younger sister who feels like an outsider. Their bond is powerful but strained, filled with misunderstandings, arguments, and moments of tenderness that capture the emotional chaos of real sibling relationships. These aren't perfect Disney characters, they're young women trying to hold each other up in the wake of grief and uncertainty. Their story tells viewers that love doesn't have to look picture perfect, it just has to be honest, persistent, and grounded in care. Then enters Stitch, a genetic experiment created for destruction who has never known what love is or what connection can mean. His introduction into Lilo and Nani's already fragile world should be catastrophic, and in many ways it is. But it's through this chaotic creature that the theme of found family blossoms in the most beautiful of ways. Stitch's arc is perhaps the most profound of all, a being designed for violence who finds peace in the warmth of belonging. By the time he utters the beloved phrase, "This is my family, I found it all on my own," it's impossible not to feel the emotional gravitas of his journey. In a world that often prizes perfection, Lilo & Stitch embraces the imperfect bonds that form when people choose to love one another anyway. It tells us that family can come from the most unexpected places, and that being loved truly and deeply is a true transformative act, one that changes both the giver and the receiver forever. Among the many surprising and delightful elements that make Lilo and Stitch stand out in Disney's 100-year-long catalogue is its unabashed love for Elvis Presley might just be one of the most unexpected, but it works, and not just as a clever running gag or nostalgic homage, the King of Rock and Roll's presence throughout this film becomes a surprisingly meaningful thread, tying into both character development and the broader emotional themes at play. Elvis's music isn't just background noise, it's part of the soul of the film. His voice, full of longing, rebellion, love and swagger, becomes a vessel through which Lilo expresses herself and through which Stitch, oddly enough, starts to understand the emotional language of the human world. From the moment Lilo flips through her vinyl records and chooses Elvis as her hero, it's clear that the filmmakers are doing something truly special. Rather than use any popular soundtrack of the time, they reached back into the musical archives to pull from a genre steeped in energy, emotion, and cultural weight. Lilo's fascination with Elvis becomes a key part of her identity, where she teaches Stitch how to be good by modeling him after Elvis's image: cool, confident, and charming. The resulting montage of Stitch in a white jumpsuit performing for tourists and strumming a ukulele with wild abandon is not only hilarious but oddly moving. The film is drawing a connection between music, identity, and the power of expression, especially for two characters who feel profoundly misunderstood by others. What's most remarkable, however, is how seamlessly Elvis's songs fit into the story. Tracks like Stuck on You, Burning Love, and You're the Devil in Disguise are used not just for comedic effect, but to enhance the emotional mood of scenes, whether they're lighthearted, chaotic, or quietly melancholic. The music carries weight, nostalgia, and warmth that resonates with both older and younger viewers. For adults, it's a touching callback to their past. For children, it's an introduction to timeless artistry. In both cases, Elvis's presence adds richness and flavor to an already emotionally layered film. Lilo and Stitch didn't just use his songs, it celebrated them, weaving them into the very heart of a story about finding where you truly belong. Lilo and Stitch, therefore, is not just another animated family film, it is a vibrant, emotional tapestry woven from threads of grief, hope, laughter and love. It invites viewers into a world that feels as alive as its characters, bursting with the color and spirit of Hawaii, and never lets go of the emotional truth that drives every single moment. Whether it is the rhythmic sway of hula under the tropical sun, or the soulful croon of an Elvis song echoing through a beachside home, the film feels utterly singular in its atmosphere and heartfelt in its message. There is a magnetic warmth in its storytelling, a kind of sincerity and emotional openness that transcends time, culture and age. It speaks to something deeply human, the universal longing to belong, to be seen and to be loved, even when we don't feel like we deserve it. What truly elevates Lilo and Stitch from being a merely great film to an unforgettable film, however, is how it never sacrifices depth for simplicity. This is a film that openly talks about loss, about the pain of being different, and about the real struggles of holding a broken family together. Yet it does so with so much humor, heart, and a distinct lack of cynicism. It offers space for both laughter and tears, sometimes within the very same scene. It's rare for a children's film to have such a firm grip on emotional nuance, and rarer still for it to balance such weighty themes with a mischievous alien rampaging through a small Hawaiian town in a homemade Elvis costume. And somehow, it works perfectly, because beneath the chaos and comedy, there is always a pulse of tenderness, a reminder that everyone, no matter how strange or small, is worthy of love.